Chapter 71. Can you still have a good competition? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing the crowd's gasps, Feng Xiaotian grinned, a smug look plastered on his face. Sure, he was only a level 41 soul sect right now, but at the academy, nobody else even came close. He was, plain and simple, the star genius. Not even Dai Mubai, Tang San, Oscar, or Ma Hongjun could hold a candle to Feng Xiaotian's spirit power. Okay, yeah, Feng Xiaotian was a few years older than Tang San and the others. At the same age, things might be different, but Feng Xiaotian, Tang San, and Xiao De, they were all in the same age bracket, senior students under 20. You could compare them, at least a little. Feng Xiaotian shot a glance at Xiao De, whose calmness made him grit his teeth. Oh, you want to play it cool? I'll wipe that smirk right off your face. Heads up. Feng Xiaotian wasn't about to jump right into spirit skills. First, he wanted to test the waters with just his spirit power. Relax. You couldn't hit me if you tried. You're the one who should be worried. Xiao De stood still, watching Feng Xiaotian zip around. Cocky, aren't you? Feng Xiaotian was a blur, constantly shifting, always closing in. Finally, he was close enough. He threw a punch, aiming for Xiao De's face. Gotta knock that smugness down a peg, right? Huo Wushuang frowned. Xiao De can't dodge him at that speed. Huo Wu glanced at Shui Binger. Guess you picked a dud, huh? Your guy is all talk. Shui Binger ignored her, her expression unchanging. She didn't know how Xiao De would respond, but she knew that as a Soul Emperor, he wouldn't lose to Feng Xiaotian. Go get him, bro. Shui Yue was practically bouncing. Feng Xiaotian snickered. Is that all you've got? Disappointing. Then, in a blink, Feng Xiaotian vanished. Everyone was stunned. He just disappeared, only to reappear a few feet away, his attack thrown wildly off course, leaving him stumbling. What the heck just happened? Didn't he just nail that guy? How'd he end up over there? The audience was baffled. Huo Wushuang and his group were just as confused. Is that a space-type spirit skill? Shui Binger smiled slightly. Shui Yue snapped out of it and cheered. You're awesome, bro. Amazing, incredible. Look at Feng Xiaotian, he's totally lost it. Huh. That even if she didn't get what was happening, she knew she just needed to yell about how awesome her brother-in-law was, and Feng Xiaotian was lost. He couldn't believe it. He was about to land a hit, and suddenly he was somewhere else, whiffing the punch. He glared at Xiao De. Was that your spirit skill? Xiao De just nodded. Yup. Feng Xiaotian scowled. A spirit ability that lets someone swap places. That was a tough nut to crack, Huo Wu commented. That was Xiao De's spirit skill. I didn't see any spirit rings flash. Is it instant? Instant. Huo Wushuang stared at Xiao De, surprised. Only the most gifted could pull off an instant spirit skill. It was pure talent, which proved Xiao De was something special. Shui Yue waved her hand dismissively. Instant spirit skill. Big deal. My sister can do it, so of course my bro can too. That logic. Shui Yue was on a roll. She'd seen Xiao De use 2 instant spirit skills. One that knocked the air out of your lungs, and now this swap places trick. Both were unique, both were useful, and both were a pain to deal with. Shui Binger watched Xiao De, her eyes shining. This asterisk was her man. The man she was proud of. I don't buy it. There's gotta be a way to beat it. Feng Xiaotian started channeling his spirit skills. First spirit skill, Wind Blade Barrage. Sharp wolf claws sprung from Feng Xiaotian's palms. He swung them, unleashing 10 crescent-shaped blades of wind, cutting off every escape route, tightening the circle around Xiao De. He didn't need to get close himself. He'd attack from a distance. No way Xiao De could teleport his attack. Xiao De could definitely redirect the wind blades. But he didn't. When the barrage had shrunk to its breaking point, ready to shred him, Xiao De vanished. And then Feng Xiaotian appeared in the center of the wind blade circle. The crowd gasped. Oh, crap, Feng Xiaotian froze, then desperately scrambled to defend himself. He was too late. He got clipped by his own wind blades. It wasn't serious, but he'd been injured by his own attack. Bro-in-law is a boss, Shui Yue yelled, her eyes sparkling. Shui Binger smiled, while Wushuang was awestruck. Chowda switched places with Feng Xiaotian at the last second, pulling himself out of the wind blade zone and shoving Feng Xiaotian into it. His spirit skill works on himself, too, and over a pretty decent distance. If that range is big enough, this is gonna be impossible to counter. Huo Wu added, yeah, if that's the case, then until Chowda runs out of juice, there's nothing you can do. Unless you use a spirit skill that locks on, but Feng Xiaotian doesn't have one of those. Lock-on skills tracked the target relentlessly. The spirit skill wouldn't stop until it hit. Huo Wushuang shook his head. Even lock-on skills might not work. He could just swap places with the attacker right before the skill lands. Problem solved. So, they were stuck. They couldn't think of a single way around Chowda's ability. Feng Xiaotian was racking his brain, but he was drawing a blank. He was frustrated. He thought he was stronger than Chowda, but Chowda's spirit skills were just two hacks, leaving him powerless. So, wanna keep going? Chowda asked Feng Xiaotian. He had 8 spirit skills now, any of which would make short work of Feng Xiaotian. Keep going. Of course, we're keep going. We haven't decided anything yet. Feng Xiaotian figured his only shot was to use his speed to overcome Chowda's teleport. Even if Chowda switched him around, he could still make up for it with raw speed. Second spirit skill, Twin Wolf Embodiment. This was an augmentative skill. Attack, defense, and agility all up by 50%. Third spirit skill, Gale Wings. A pair of massive blue wings unfurled from Feng Xiaotian's back. He could now fly up to 150 feet in the air, and his speed got another huge boost. With those two skills active, Feng Xiaotian was moving at top speed. Let's do this. Feng Xiaotian hovered in the air, looking down at Chowda. I don't believe your spirit skill can ignore the distance limit. He was more than 60 feet away from Chowda now, keeping his distance, ready to attack from even further away. Try flying a little higher. See if I can't still reach you. The range of Chowda's space jump was just under a mile. Suddenly, Feng Xiaotian in the air got yanked back down to the ground. Feng Xiaotian just stared. Seriously. End of this chapter. Chapter 72. Meet again and find the bitch Chow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Over 60 feet high, got it. Huo Wushuang and the others were taken aback. Soul skills usually don't have a range that exceeds 60 feet, Shui Yue wasn't really following, but that didn't stop her from chiming in. My brother-in-law's soul skills ignore distance. Feng Xiaotian could fly as high as he wants, it wouldn't matter. Huo Wu and the others looked skeptical. Feng Xiaotian clearly didn't believe it, and shot up again, reaching almost 150 feet, about as high as he could fly. No dice. Chowda used another space jump soul skill, instantly bringing Feng Xiaotian back down to earth. Feng Xiaotian was beyond frustrated. Embarrassment turned to anger. Chowda, if you've got any guts, fight me head on. He was convinced that in a straight-up fight, he'd definitely beat Chowda. Chowda's soul skills just felt like a cheap trick to Feng Xiaotian. A confrontation. Chowda smirked. You can't even touch me. What makes you think you deserve a fair fight? Shui Yue cheered. That's right. My brother-in-law's the best. Feng Xiaotian, just admit you lost. You're no match for him. Ugh. Feng Xiaotian was so annoyed he could spit. Seeing Feng Xiaotian was in a tough spot, Huo Wushuang tried to smooth things over. Hey, Feng Xiaotian, Chowda's soul skills are unique. There's nothing you can do right now. Let's just call it a draw. Shui Yue wasn't having it. It's obvious Feng Xiaotian lost. How can you call that a draw? Chowda shrugged. Whatever. I didn't even want to compete in the first place. You guys were the ones pushing it. Humph. Feng Xiaotian felt a little better having a way out. I'll figure out how to counter your soul skills. You'll lose next time for sure. That he turned and walked towards Huo Wushuang and the others. Shui Yuer called after him, sore loser. What kind of man are you? Let me tell you, you'll never beat my brother-in-law. He's a soul emperor, and you're just a soul sect. Soul emperor? Huo Wushuang and the others were shocked, but they found it hard to believe. Huo Wu asked Shui Binger, impossible, right? Shui Binger smiled, giving nothing away. Xiao Wu walked over. Let's go, let's keep shopping. Brother-in-law, you're amazing. I'm such a fan. Big fan. Shui Yue ran over and grabbed Xiao Wu's arm, feeling the softness, warmth, and fragrance radiating from her body. His sister-in-law was clinging to him and acting cute. Xiao Wu was speechless, of course. That dog Xiao Wu was totally eating it up. Shui Binger knew her sister's personality and wasn't bothered by it. She figured it was no big deal for her sister to flirt a little with her brother-in-law. She might even be okay if Shui Yue ended up marrying Xiao Wu as well. Their family had a history of multiple partners, so it was pretty accepted. Shui Binger took Xiao Wu's other arm, and the two sisters strolled off with him. Watching them leave, Huo Wu asked, do you think Xiao Wu really is a soul emperor? Feng Xiaotian scoffed. No way. He looks about our age, maybe a soul sect at best. His soul skills are just weird, and he's too chicken to fight fair. It's all just a show. Huo Wushuang said, still, his soul skills are hard to figure out. If we run into him at the Soul Master competition, it'll be tough. We need to come up with a strategy. Feng Xiaotian said, the competition is a team thing. His soul skills might work against one or two people, but with a whole team, it's easier to handle. It's just being alone that's the problem, but there has to be a way. Huo Wushuang nodded. Good point. Huo Wu said, I don't feel like shopping anymore. I want to go back and train. Feng Xiaotian quickly offered, Huo Wu, I'll walk you back. Huo Wu said annoyedly, no, thanks. Don't follow me. Come talk to me after you beat Xiao Wu. She used Xiao Wu as an excuse to get rid of him. I will beat him. Feng Xiaotian's resentment toward Xiao Wu intensified. Let's head back together, Huo Wushuang said to his girlfriend. No one was in the mood for shopping anymore. It was better to call it a day, so the four of them left together. Xiao Wu and the sisters continued shopping as if nothing had happened. Brother-in-law, does this dress look good? Gorgeous. It's perfect on you. Shui Yue loved browsing clothing stores. She didn't buy a lot, but she loved trying stuff on, and dragging Shui Binger along just drove Xiao Wu wild. He was stuck holding it in. He'd have to go find Lu Erlong later to take care of it. At one clothing store, they ran into some familiar faces. Hey, Dai, second bro, third bro, look over there. Isn't that Xiao Wu? Ma Hongjun spotted Xiao Wu chatting and laughing with the Shui Binger sisters. The four of them were out shopping with some female classmates and didn't expect to see Xiao Wu there. It is him. Oscar stared, wow. So, he's got a new girlfriend. Two of them, in fact. What about Ning Rongrong, Xiao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing and the others? Do they even know Xiao Wu's out here macking on other girls? He had thought Xiao Wu was a stand-up guy, but now he's realizing he's no different from them, and he didn't like it one bit. They were all pretty similar, so why were Ning Rongrong and the others only interested in Xiao Wu? Was it just a matter of who got there first? Seeing Xiao Wu reminded Dai Mubai of Zhu Zhuqing, Tang San of Xiao Wu, Oscar of Ning Rongrong, and Ma Hongjun of his own past rejections. Xiao Wu, you've got him all wrong. Tang San was still hung up on Xiao Wu and was convinced that she was the one for him and he had to win her over no matter what. Seeing Xiao Wu made Tang San feel sorry for Xiao Wu, but it also gave him hope. The worse Xiao Wu looked, the better. That way, Xiao Wu would see Xiao Wu's true colors and come running to Tang San. Plus, if Xiao Wu was here, that meant Xiao Wu must be in Heaven Do City too, so he could see her again. I'm going to expose this jerk for who he really is. Oscar couldn't take it anymore. He didn't want Xiao Wu getting away with his fakeness. Tang San stopped him. Don't be rash. You're just a support-type soul master. If you start something, you'll just get hurt. Don't worry, since he's here, he's probably with one of the Soul Master Academies or maybe the 7 Treasure Glazed Tiles sect. We can find out where they're at and see what's going on. Dai Mubai agreed. Xiao De probably came to Heaven Do City to hide from the Spirit Hall. The 7 Treasure Glazed Tiles sect is here, so the Spirit Hall won't make a move so easily. Xiao De can't leave Heaven Do City now, but there will be other chances in the future. Ma Hongjun grumbled, those 2 girls with him are gorgeous. It's not fair. Why does he get to live like this? He glanced at the female classmates standing nearby, and they paled in comparison to Shui Binger and Shui Yue, Dai Mubai, Oscar, Tang San, and the others looked at Shui Binger and Shui Yue again. They were definitely beautiful. They might not be quite as pretty as Xiao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing, or Ning Rongrong, but they weren't far off and were way better looking than the girls they were with. They were envious and jealous of Xiao De. How did this guy get so lucky? They couldn't let Zhu Zhuqing, Xiao Wu, and Ning Rongrong keep getting fooled by Xiao De. They had to save those 3 beautiful girls. The desire was overwhelming. Chapter 73 Assassination. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tang San and his crew. Xiao De spotted Tang San and the others and gave them a look. Both sides acted like they didn't know each other. No greetings exchanged. Still, seeing Tang San's group show up confirmed a few things for Xiao De, like, Qin Ming must have been the one who invited them to Heaven Do City. And the fact that they hadn't joined Lanba Academy meant they were already part of the Tiando Royal Academy. Xiao De's presence was throwing a wrench in the works. If they're at Tiando Royal Academy, he thought, their talent and strength mean they'll definitely be in the Soul Master competition, and we're bound to run into each other. I wonder if Tang San's got the 8 spider soul bone yet, he mused. Probably not with how things are changing. It was just a passing thought. He was way stronger than Tang San now. Even if Tang San pulled out all his special techniques and hidden weapons, he wouldn't stand a chance. As Xiao De was lost in thought, a woman walked into the store, casually passing by Tang San and his friends. Then, out of nowhere, a wicked-looking dagger flashed in her hand, aimed straight for Tang San. Tang San's senses tingled just in time. He dodged, but the dagger still caught him in the shoulder. Dai Mubai and the others were caught completely off guard. Assassin! Watch out! Before Dai Mubai could even react, the woman was already launching a second attack, still targeting Tang San. This time, she unleashed her martial spirit and soul skills. A purple spirit ring glowed around her, and suddenly, a swarm of green poison needles appeared in her hand, flying toward Tang San. Assassination! Why are you trying to kill me? Tang San was clueless, but he didn't dare let his guard down. He used his skills to grab all the poison needles. He could handle this kind of attack without even using his martial spirit or spirit abilities. You asked for it. Dai Mubai had already summoned his martial spirit and spirit ring, using his spirit power to attack the woman. Ma Hongjun was a little slower on the uptake. Both of them were holding back, not wanting to wreck the place. Murder! The people around them panicked, screaming and scattering. Chaos erupted. Tang San retaliated, sending blue-silver grass vines after the woman, but she was no pushover, and she was holding her own against Tang San. Xiao De, Shui Binger, and Shui Yue stepped back, watching the fight unfold. Shui Yue clung to Xiao De's arm, shivering. This is awful. An assassination in broad daylight. Shui Binger added, they're students from Tiando Royal Academy. Who would be bold enough to attack them right here in Tiando City? Xiao De explained, there are always people who think they can get away with anything. Judging by her soul power, she's a soul king, and those guys are just soul masters. A soul king? Shui Yue gasped. Are they done for? Xiao De shook his head. Not necessarily. Those 3 are something else, especially the one with the blue-silver grass. It won't be easy for her to pull this off with all 3 of them working together. Actually, she lost her chance when her first attack failed. The guards should be here any minute now, and she won't be able to keep this up for long. She'll either die or run. Just like Xiao De predicted, the woman made a run for it soon after, and Tang San and the others couldn't stop her. Whether they'd catch her later was anyone's guess. Third brother, are you okay? Oscar handed Tang San a healing sausage, looking worried as he saw Tang San's pale face and the blood on his shoulder. I'm fine, Tang San replied. Just a scratch and a little poison. Nothing lethal. The injury was minor, and while the poison was nasty, it was nothing Tang San couldn't handle. The Tang sect practically invented poison, so he wasn't worried. Dai Mubai stepped up to Tang San. She was definitely after you. Good thing you were quick on your feet, or it could have been a lot worse. But it's weird. We've been together pretty much since you joined Shrek Academy, and we haven't made any enemies. Why would someone try to assassinate you? Tang San shook his head. I have no idea. He was completely baffled. He'd been focused on his studies. Even if he'd rubbed someone the wrong way, he couldn't imagine it leading to something like this. Ma Hongjun chimed in, we should get back and tell the dean and the others. That assassin might come back if we stick around here. Oscar agreed. Fatty's right. Let's head back. We'll be safer at the academy. The four of them left together. The clothing store owner, who had some pull in the city, didn't try to stop them or ask for compensation. Soon after Tang San and his friends left, the guards arrived. By then, Xiao De, Shui Binger, and Shui Yue were long gone. They had nothing to do with it. Xiao De was still wondering who would want to assassinate Tang San. He suspected the spirit hall was involved. He figured they were already keeping tabs on Tang San because of what he'd said. The assassination was both an attack and a test. Otherwise, they would have sent someone stronger to finish the job in one shot. Xiao De's hunch was right. It was indeed the spirit hall who had sent the assassin. Their thinking was that if the assassination succeeded, great, and if it failed, it wouldn't draw too much attention. It was also a way to see if Tang Hao was secretly protecting Tang San. The assassination was more of a probe than a serious attempt. Tang Hao didn't show up. Is it because he's too far away? Xiao De thought. He was sure Tang Hao was in Heaven Do City, not too far from Tang San. But he probably knew about the attack by now. Tang Hao hadn't known about the assassin at first. He couldn't be right beside Tang San, protecting him constantly. There was a limit to how close he could be. When Tang Hao found out his son had been attacked, he flew into a rage and set out to hunt down the assassin. You're not getting away. Tang Hao caught up to her. With his power, she couldn't even kill herself. Tell me, who sent you? Tang Hao suspected the spirit hall, but he wasn't sure. Tang San had never been in the spotlight, but he couldn't rule out the possibility that it was someone Tang San had offended. The woman didn't say a word. She was trained to resist interrogation, and she didn't even know who her employer was. She belonged to an assassin organization and simply carried out the tasks she was given. The spirit hall wouldn't directly send someone connected to them to carry out an assassination. You'll talk eventually. Tang Hao crippled her martial spirit, broke her limbs, and dragged her away to question her slowly. He was sure he'd get the truth out of her eventually. Xiao De didn't know what Tang Hao was up to. He was being extra cautious now. If the spirit hall had tried to assassinate Tang San, they might come after him too. He wasn't afraid for himself, but he was worried about putting others in danger, like Shui Yue. Shui Yue wasn't bound to the capture space. He couldn't just shove her in there if she was in danger. As for the others bound to the space, Xiao De could sense when they were in trouble and bring them inside in time. Soul Emperor, it's still not enough. Xiao De needed more power. He needed to become stronger to protect himself and the people around him. The assassination had ruined their mood for shopping, and they headed back to Renxue College. Chapter 74 Mother-in-Law. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tiando Royal Academy. Tang San was in Yu Xiaojiang's room. Think hard. Who could you have possibly ticked off? Yu Xiaojiang asked, frowning. Hiring an assassin suggests a pretty deep grudge. Tang San shook his head. I honestly don't know. It feels completely out of the blue. Could someone have discovered you have twin martial souls and wants to eliminate the competition? Yu Xiaojiang speculated. But wouldn't they try to recruit me first? Tang San wondered. Why go straight to assassination? Maybe it's an enemy, Yu Xiaojiang suggested. Tang San was puzzled. My dad's just a blacksmith in a village. He doesn't have any enemies. Yu Xiaojiang knew Tang San was unaware of Tang Hao's true identity, or he wouldn't be saying that. Yu Xiaojiang knew about Tang Hao and his massive grudge with the Spirit Hall. Plus, Tang Hao became a titled Douluo. It's natural he'd made other enemies along the way, not to mention his connection to the Clear Sky School. The assassination attempt on Tang San was likely related to Tang Hao, not necessarily because they knew about the twin martial souls, but more likely because he's Tang Hao's son. Little San, for now, it's best if you stay inside the academy. Even assassins wouldn't dare come in here. For now, that's all Yu Xiaojiang could advise. He trusted Tang Hao, who was secretly protecting Tang San, would investigate and resolve the matter. He just had to wait. Tang San nodded. I understand, teacher. I'll stay put and focus on my training. Getting stronger is the only way to protect myself. Yu Xiaojiang said reassuringly, that's smart. Train hard and prepare for the Soul Master competition. Tang San and a few others were joining the Tiando Royal Academy's second team, which meant they'd have to compete in the preliminaries, individual matches, and work their way up, unlike the first team, which gets a direct pass to the finals. Tang San's current spirit power level wasn't as high as Yu Tianheng or Du Guyan, and because they were nobles, Tang San and the others couldn't make it into the first team. Meanwhile, Tang Hao was in a residence near the academy, interrogating the captured female assassin and keeping an eye on things. He wasn't rushing to meet Tang San or Yu Xiaojiang. He planned to continue protecting Tang San from the shadows. His priority was to find out who was behind the assassination attempt, but it wasn't looking good. No matter how much he grilled her, the assassin wouldn't talk. He suspected the Spirit Hall but couldn't be sure. He had more enemies than just them. Tianshui Academy, Chowda, Shui Binger, and Shui Yuer were walking through the academy when they bumped into Vice President Yu Binger. Yuer. Shui Binger greeted her with, Mom. Shui Yuer said, Ma'am. Vice President Yu was Shui Binger's mother and Shui Yuer's aunt. Hello, ma'am. Chowda greeted her warmly. I'm Chowda, a friend of Binger and Yuer. Vice President Yu eyed Chowda. The rumors about Shui Binger's boyfriend had been flying around the academy for days. She couldn't not know about it. Vice President Yu knew her daughter's personality. At first, she dismissed it as gossip spread by jealous suitors. It happened all the time, but then a teacher saw Shui Binger and Chowda holding hands and told her about it, and that got her attention. She'd finished her work that morning and planned to ask her daughter about it in the afternoon, but then she found out her daughter had left the academy with Chowda. It was getting serious, which worried her. When Chowda and the girls returned, Vice President Yu found out immediately. She dropped everything and rushed over, and there they were, her daughter and Chowda holding hands, all cozy and not even trying to hide it. Her daughter had never been like this before, never so close to a boy. Suddenly, Vice President Yu realized her daughter had grown up and was really in love. Seeing Chowda for the first time, Vice President Yu's first impression was positive. Chowda, hello. Shui Binger blushed. Mom, Chowda's my boyfriend now. Vice President Yu was taken aback. She hadn't expected her daughter to be so forward, so unlike her usually reserved self. Chowda smiled sincerely. Ma'am, I really like Binger. I hope you'll let us date. Shui Yuer chimed in, Ma'am, my sister's boyfriend is amazing. They're both talented and beautiful, they're perfect for each other. Vice President Yu wasn't surprised by Shui Yuer's outspoken nature. She smiled and said, it's normal for young people to fall in love, and I won't interfere. But you need to focus on your training. Now's the time, and you can't let anything distract you. This is the best time to develop your abilities. Still, she wanted to know more about Chowda's talent and family background. She couldn't let her daughter get hurt. Chowda replied, Don't worry, ma'am. We won't let it interfere with our training. We'll work hard together. Shui Binger added, Yeah, we will. Shui Yuer chimed in, Mom, don't worry. My brother-in-law is a total genius. He's a Soul Emperor now, Soul Emperor. Vice President Yu was surprised and skeptical. She looked at Xiao De and asked, really? Xiao De nodded. Yeah, I just reached Soul Emperor not long ago. Shui Binger said, Mom, it's true. I wouldn't lie about this. Xiao De's talent is off the charts, much better than mine. Of course, what I like about him is everything about him, not just his talent. It was love at first sight. Vice President Yu didn't doubt Shui Binger's sincerity, but this was a shock. Xiao De, how old are you? Xiao De looked to be around the same age as her daughter, but maybe he was older. If he was over 25, being a Soul Emperor would be normal, but if he was as young as her daughter, that would be unbelievable. Xiao De answered truthfully, I'm a little over 2 years younger than Binger. Shui Binger looped her arm through Xiao De's. Mom, we're not that far apart. Shui Yue grinned. Auntie, are you surprised? Surprised? More than surprised. If Xiao De was 15 or 16 and already a Soul Emperor, that was insane. Vice President Yu found it hard to believe. She glanced at the teachers and students who were watching, and decided this wasn't the place to talk. Xiao De, let's go somewhere we can chat. Xiao De agreed immediately. Chapter 75. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Vice President Yu's place at Tianshui Academy was way nicer than Lu Erlong's, a whole independent house. Make yourselves at home, relax, she said. Binger, tea. Yue, go wash some fruit. Shui Binger got the tea going, Shui Yue headed for the fruit, and Xiao De found himself sitting across from the vice president in the living room. She looked him over. Xiao De, mind if I call you Xiao? Not at all. Vice President Yu smiled. Xiao, tell me about your family. Who all's in it? That the parental interrogation had begun. Honest as always, Xiao De didn't hold back. Well, when I was little, there was an accident. My parents and relatives all vanished. Then I met Headmaster Lu Erlong at Lanba Academy, and I've been studying and training there ever since. Lanba Academy, Lu Erlong. Vice President Yu knew the name. Heard she was a real firecracker, didn't play well with other academies, which is why they weren't exactly lining up to hire Tianshui Academy. Headmaster Lu Erlong, I've met her. She's unique, Vice President Yu said. I'm sorry to hear about your family. But that's behind you now. You gotta stay strong. Things will get better. In her mind, with Xiao De an orphan, Lu Erlong was practically his parent now, which spoke volumes about his background. Even if she didn't know the details on Lu Erlong, anyone who could start an officially recognized high-level Soul Master Academy in Tiando City had to have some serious connections. With Lu Erlong backing him, Xiao De's family situation was basically the same as Shui Binger's, so family wasn't an issue anymore. Now, Vice President Yu was most interested in Xiao De's soul power level. Her daughter had given her the rundown, but she wanted to see it for herself. Xiao, would you mind showing me your soul rings? If it's a problem, don't worry about it. Was that a test? If he said no, she'd probably be ticked off. Whatever. He'd already flashed the rings once, no point hiding them now. Xiao De nodded. No problem. Just then, Shui Yue strolled in with the washed fruit. Ooh, I wanna see too. I haven't seen my brother-in-law's soul rings yet. Vice President Yu shot her a look, thinking, you haven't even seen his soul rings, how are you so sure he's a Soul Emperor? And where did this brother-in-law thing come from? Did someone slip her a love potion? Xiao De chuckled. Yue, you're just saying that. If you want to see them, I'll show them. Shui Yue blinked. Didn't I just ask? That she'd almost forgotten she'd only known Xiao De for a couple of days. It felt like she'd known him forever, 2 or 3 days, that was nothing. It wasn't weird that she hadn't seen his soul rings yet, but she'd gotten so comfortable around Xiao De these past few days, it felt like they'd been friends for ages, like she should have seen those rings already. Shui Binger came in with the tea. Yue, you've only known Xiao De for a few days, how can you ask to see his soul rings? That she passed out the tea, glanced at Xiao De, and said, "I'm embarrassed to even bring it up. But Chowda showed me 3 black soul rings before, so he has to be a soul emperor. Point 3 black, 10,000-year soul rings. By all the rules, that made him at least a soul sage, not a soul emperor." Vice President Yu stared at Chowda, surprised. 3 10,000-year rings, and you're only a soul emperor. Shouldn't you be a soul sage? Shui Binger explained, Chowda's 4th ring is a 10,000-year ring too. Shui Yuer gasped. The 4th ring can absorb a 10,000-year ring? No way, Vice President Yu agreed. Impossible, Chowda said earnestly, my soul rings are pretty unique. It's not just the 4th one, you'll see. It wasn't just the 4th one that was special. There were more special soul rings. The 3 women were all eyes. Chowda released his soul rings, 6 rings, black, red, red, black, black, purple. The women were speechless. How could anyone have soul rings like that? The first ring was a black, 10,000-year ring. And a red 10,000-year ring. Shui Yuer swallowed hard. Wait, that red ring, that's from 100,000-year soul beast, right? Brother-in-law, how did you? Are you some kind of monster? Vice President Yu snapped out of it and focused on Chowda's rings. Chowda. Shui Binger didn't know what to say. Chowda explained, my spirit and my body are different than most. My rings aren't from hunting beasts, they're made by me, and they keep getting stronger. It's my biggest secret. You have to promise to keep it safe. He'd just revealed something huge. Was he moved? They had to be worried, Shui Binger was. Chowda, you shouldn't have told us. If word gets out, someone will try to hurt you. Someone would want to study him, figure out how he got rings like that, how he made them. Greed could make people do crazy things. Chowda told Shui Binger, it's okay. You're the woman I love, and your family is my family. You have a right to know, don't worry about me. My skills are good enough to protect myself, and you too. Shui Binger was touched. Chowda, thank you for trusting us. We won't tell anyone, and we'd never do anything to hurt you. Shui Yuer looked at Chowda with wide eyes. Brother-in-law. My super-powered brother-in-law. You're amazing. I feel like I'm dreaming. You're like a god, not a monster, not a god, but what was Chowda? At that moment, Shui Yuer was in awe of Chowda, like he was a deity. Binger, Yuer, not a word to anyone. Vice President Yu warned, Chowda, you either. Don't show those rings around, and don't tell anyone your secret, or you'll get yourself killed. This world isn't as simple as you think. There's danger everywhere. Shui Binger and Shui Yuer nodded solemnly, but Chowda said, too late. They've already been seen. I was practicing in Soto City before, and showed them in the Great Soul Arena. The Spirit Hall has been watching me ever since. Ju Douluo even tried to capture me for the Spirit Hall, but I got away. What? The Spirit Hall was already after him? The women looked terrified. Chowda reassured them. Don't worry. I can handle myself. Even Ju Douluo couldn't catch me. My space spirit has some special skills. No one can hold me. I can use space to jump away from anything. To calm them down, Chowda even used his space jump skill to move them all at once. That helped. If Chowda had that kind of power, there was really no way to stop him. Chapter 76 The Mother-in-Law expresses support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 76 Mother-in-law's seal of approval. His space jump allows him to move up to a mile at a time, and it's instantaneous. This isn't just a simple teleport, it's a space jump. As far as I know, there's probably nothing that can stop him from using it. Vice President Yu understood the true power of Chowda's ability after experiencing it firsthand. First, it's a 10,000-year soul skill that's activated instantly. With enough soul power, he can use it in the blink of an eye. No preparation time, just a thought, and he's gone. Impossible to predict, impossible to stop. Second, the range is incredible, up to a mile. Plus, he can use it continuously, covering several miles in seconds. Even a title Douluo specializing in speed and flight couldn't keep up. He's impossible to catch, impossible to lock onto, and he can take people with him, or even force an enemy to move. He can move an enemy a mile away. If an opponent is too powerful, Xiao can just move them away, keeping them from getting close enough to attack. Space jump alone is enough for Xiao to protect himself and others, and that's on top of his 7 other powerful soul abilities. Honestly, just space jump is enough to put Vice President Yu and the girls at ease. Shui Binger, still a bit worried, told Xiao, even with those skills, you can't let your guard down. You know, keep your friends close but your enemies closer. Xiao understood. I know. I'll be fine. My only worry is that I might drag you into this. Vice President Yu chimed in. The Spirit Hall is ruthless. They're capable of anything. You should try to stay at the academy more often to train. You'll be able to protect yourself if you're strong enough. Xiao nodded. Binger, you two stay at Tianxue Academy. I'll come by when I need to. It's much safer for me to operate alone than to have you two running around out there. Shui Binger added, and for safety's sake, don't come to Tianxue Academy every day. Maybe once or twice a month. She didn't want him visiting too often and getting ambushed. Shui Yuer asked, brother-in-law, you have 2 10,000-year soul rings now, and you're a soul emperor. Could you take on a soul sage? I bet you could. Vice President Yu said, with Xiao's strength, I'm sure he could handle a soul sage. Xiao explained, I can hold my own against a contra now. Teacher Lu Erlong is a contra now, and I spar with her often, so I know my limits. Stronger soul douluos and title douluos would be a problem, but I can always run if I can't win. So, if the Spirit Hall wants to deal with me, they'd need to send at least a few contras, maybe even a title douluo. I've fought against Ju Douluo before. He knows about my teleportation. Unless he can find a way to stop me, I doubt he'll attack me again. My only real worry is whether the Spirit Hall will target the people around me. Vice President Yu reassured him, as long as the people you care about stay in the academy as much as possible, the Spirit Hall won't dare do anything too obvious. Besides, didn't you say the 7 treasure glazed tile sect is protecting you? With them involved, the Spirit Hall will be even more cautious. Just be careful, don't give them an opening. The stronger you get, the harder it will be for them to touch you. Shui Yuer piped up, brother-in-law, you're a total prodigy. You improve so fast. Get strong fast, and when you become invincible, you can protect me. Then the Spirit Hall won't dare mess with me. She figured Xiao could already fight some contras. Once he became a soul sage, he could fight title douluos. By the time he was a contra, who could stand against him? Instead of struggling to protect herself, it was better to wait for Xiao to get stronger and protect her sooner. Hearing that, Xiao and the others chuckled. It was rare for this girl to think of herself like that. She was usually so weird. Vice President Yu insisted Xiao stay for dinner, even cooking herself to show how much she respected him. As dusk fell, Shui Binger walked Xiao out of Tianxue College. Xiao returned to Lamba Academy by car without incident. That night, Shui Binger and Shui Yuer slept at Vice President Yu's house, chatting late into the night. Shui Yuer, lying on Vice President Yu's left side, hugged her arm. Mom, you're pretty happy with brother-in-law Xiao, right? Shui Binger, lying on the right, looked at her mother. Vice President Yu looked at them both and smiled. Xiao's talent is unmatched, almost freakish. It would be wonderful if he and Binger really worked out. I just worry Xiao is too good and Binger won't be able to hold on to him. Compared to Xiao, Shui Binger was just average. There were plenty of women better than Shui Binger, but only one Xiao. And there would be plenty of girls vying for his affection in the future. She was worried Shui Binger wouldn't be able to compete. Shui Yuer nodded. Yeah, my brother-in-law is so amazing. Even I'm tempted. And other girls will be too. Plus, I think he's a bit of a player, so there might be more than one woman in his future. There will be tons of rivals for my sister. Vice President Yu agreed, it's normal for an excellent man to have several women, but if he's fickle, if he's the type to fall in love easily and abandon his old flames, then he's the worst kind of man. Shui Yuer said, so, Dad's still a good man. Vice President Yu smiled. Your father's pretty good. At least we're all happy. She looked at her daughter. If Chowda can be like your father, it would be a good match. Vice President Yu's experiences had taught her not to object to an excellent man having more than one woman, but that man couldn't be fickle or neglectful. He had to meet the needs of all his women. Otherwise, he wasn't a good man, and wasn't worth loving. Shui Binger spoke softly. From the moment I met Chowda, I knew he was the one for me. I liked him, and I could feel he liked me a lot too. I don't know what the future holds, but at least I'm happy now. Mom, Yuer, will you support me? Shui Yuer exclaimed, support. 100% support. I believe brother-in-law is a good man, sis, you'll be happy. Vice President Yu hugged her daughter. You're young. You can try. Even if you make a mistake, you can learn from it. Love boldly, and don't have any regrets later. Shui Binger said, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Yuer. I'll try my best. Meanwhile, Chowda was with Lu Erlong. Lu Erlong couldn't take it anymore, and said angrily, little man, who has made you angry today, and now you are venting your anger on my old lady. Chowda said with a shameless smile, Erlong, you are so beautiful today. Lu Erlong frowns and smiles, slick tongue. Chapter 77 The First Official Meeting with Renxue. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 77, First Official Meeting with Qian Renxue, the Prince's Mansion, nestled within the Heaven Do Empire's Imperial Palace. Teacher, are you familiar with Chowda? Prince Xueqinghe, Qian Renxue, asked Ning Fengji. Ning Fengji served as Prince Xueqinghe's instructor, guiding him in both cultivation and worldly conduct. Unbeknownst to Ning Fengji, Prince Xueqinghe was actually Qian Renxue in disguise. Xueqinghe's sudden mention of Chowda surprised Ning Fengji, but he quickly composed himself. The imperial court has taken notice of him. Is your highness also interested? Chowda's revealing spirit rings in Suatua City's great soul arena had caught the attention of both Spirit Hall and the Heaven Do Empire's court. Xueqinghe clarified, I stumbled upon his story and was intrigued. Teacher, I'm eager to learn more. From your perspective, does Chowda actually exist? A 10,000-year first soul ring, followed by a 10-year third soul ring. It seems too far-fetched to believe. In truth, Xueqinghe, Qian Renxue, already believed in Chowda's existence. She simply wanted to gather more information. Ever since seeing Chowda's portrait, Xueqinghe couldn't shake him from her mind, constantly seeking any news about him. Ning Fengji viewed Xueqinghe's reaction as perfectly normal. Anyone would be shocked and curious upon hearing about Chowda. He decided to share some information with Xueqinghe. Your Highness, while Chowda's situation is extraordinary, it's been confirmed that his soul rings are indeed remarkable. We also learned that Spirit Hall tried to bring him to Spirit City, even dispatching a titled Douluo, but they failed. Chowda is currently in Tiando City and has ties to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. I've met him once, he seems like a good kid. Chowda is close to the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School. Ning Fengji's words confirmed some of the information Qian Renxue had collected for the Spirit Hall. He put on a surprised expression. There really is such a person. Teacher, you've met him? After a pause, he added excitedly, a 10,000-year first soul ring, another 10,000-year second soul ring, a 10-year red third soul ring, and purple fourth and fifth soul rings. Chowda's a total anomaly, a freak genius. Ning Fengji chuckled. He's more than just a monster. He's a straight-up anomaly. Now his soul rings have leveled up to 2 red and 3 black. The thing is, those soul rings might not be his limit. He decided against sharing any more information with Xueqinghe. Xueqinghe looked at Ning Fengji, and made a request, Teacher, Xiao De is definitely a prodigy with a bright future. I'd like to recruit him. Would you be willing to introduce us? Prince Suiking's love of talent was well known. At least that was what he put out in public. This had been encouraged by Ning Fengji himself. Seeing Xue Qinghe eager to recruit Xiao De, Ning Fengji found it hard to refuse. If Xiao De continues to develop, he'll undoubtedly become a powerful title Douluo. He's worth pursuing. However, he's not one for restrictions. The Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School tried to recruit him, but he declined. Don't lose hope, Your Highness. I suggest starting with friendship. If you remain friendly, he'll likely help the Empire in the future. Did the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile School fail to win him over? Xue Qinghe had doubts but didn't show them. He echoed Ning Fengji's sentiment. What you say is true. Let's be friends first and build a strong relationship. Ning Fengji smiled approvingly and said, I'll reach out to Xiao De and explain the situation. I'm sure he'll agree to meet you. Xue Qinghe said gratefully, thank you, teacher. For some reason, Xue Qinghe, Renxue, felt her heart racing at the prospect of meeting Xiao De. She felt a strange mix of anticipation and nervousness. A few days later, Ning Fengji and Bon Douluo visited Lanba Academy, delivering the resources promised to the academy each year. They also spoke with Xiao De, relaying Prince Xue Qinghe's request to meet him. Prince Xue Qinghe wants to see me. The imperial court is paying attention to me. Since it's Uncle Ning who asked, I'll go meet the crown prince. Xiao De hadn't formally met or spoken to Renxue, Xue Qinghe, before, and thought it might be a good idea to connect, as well as do a solid for Ning Fengji. That afternoon, Xiao De entered the palace alone with Ning Fengji, heading toward the prince's mansion. Xiao De, this is His Royal Highness Crown Prince Xue Qinghe. Your Highness, this is Xiao De. Ning Fengji introduced them. Xue Qinghe, Renxue, stared at Xiao De, her heart pounding, her face slightly flushed, a little shy, and utterly captivated. Your Highness, are you all right? Are you feeling unwell? Ning Fengji sensed something was off with Xue Qinghe. Xiao De was equally puzzled by Xue Qinghe's behavior. She was staring at him with her head in the clouds. Cough, cough. Xue Qinghe snapped back to reality and quickly regained her composure. I apologize. I felt a little faint, but I'm fine now. Mr. Xiao De, I've long admired your talent. I'm glad we finally meet. Please, have a seat. Xiao De replied politely, Your Royal Highness, you're too kind. The three sat down, and Xue Qinghe personally prepared tea, showcasing her eagerness to engage with talent. Xue Qinghe began, Mr. Xiao De, you're a once-in-a-millennium genius. It's an honor to meet you. In the future, if you need any cultivation resources, don't hesitate to ask. Consider me a good friend. As a friend, I'll do my best to help you. Xiao De didn't know what Renxue was planning, but he wasn't worried. He trusted in his capture space. Since Renxue was bound to him, even if she wasn't aware of it, she wouldn't do anything to harm him. He smiled and said, It's an honor to befriend your Royal Highness. I don't care about status or background. I value sincerity, and I hope we can become true friends. Xue Qinghe responded with a warm smile. I truly want to be friends. Time will prove my sincerity. Ning Fengji chuckled. You're both young. As long as you're sincere and open with each other, you'll undoubtedly forge a great friendship. The three continued to chat amiably. Xue Qinghe insisted on hosting Xiao De for lunch and then reluctantly saw him off. It was genuine reluctance. Xue Qinghe, or rather Renxue, realized she had fallen for Xiao De, a man she initially found unbelievable. There was a magnetic quality about him that captivated her, drawing her in deeper and deeper. If she weren't bound by her disguise, she would have confessed her feelings to Xiao De. Hang in there. Renxue tried to contain herself. Once her mission was complete, she could reveal her true feelings to Xiao De and pursue her own happiness. Chapter 78 Martial Soul Fusion Skill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nearly 3 months flew by. During that time, Xiao Wu, Zhu Zhuqing, Ning Rongrong, and Xue Bing'er all leveled up. Xiao Wu hit level 52, Zhu Zhuqing reached 44, Ning Rongrong is at 43, and Xue Bing'er stands at 44, Lu Erlong is closing in on level 82, and Chao is not far off from level 64 himself. However, Chen-Li and her daughter Mai Xiang improved fast. Chen-Li's now at level 16 and Mai Xiang's at 15. They just got their soul rings, century-old ones at that, making them official soul masters. Improving their physical fitness using ingredients and fruits from the special dimension is working great. Chowda figures if they keep it up, the mother-daughter duo's talents could reach genius level, putting them on par with folks like Du Guyan, Yi Lingling, and Shirimo. So, Chowda plans to continue using them as test subjects. Of course, it's not just their talents that are improving. Chen-Li and Mai Xiang's looks and figures have also gotten a major boost, turning them into a total knockout mother-daughter team. Mai Xiang's now officially a student at Lanba Academy, and she's 13. Chen-Li still works there, but she doesn't do much, mostly just focuses on training and learning about soul masters. Their lives are changing big time, all thanks to Chowda. The mother and daughter are super grateful. They see Chowda as their master and themselves as part of his extended family, ready to go all in for him. Meanwhile, Chowda makes sure to visit Xue Bing'er at Tianxue College every week or two. Xue Bing'er hasn't stopped eating those dimension-sourced goodies, so both she and Xue Yuer have been constantly improving their talent and bodies. Today, Chowda and Xue Bing'er are meeting up to head to Sunset Forest and get Xue Bing'er her 4th soul ring. Xue Bing'er already blew past level 40 months ago thanks to a special herb, but she's been holding off on getting a soul ring. She wanted to wait until her body, soul, and spirit weapon were at their peak from eating those dimensional treats. That way, she can skip ahead and get a 10,000-year soul ring. Bro, you're finally here. My sister and I have been waiting. Xue Yuer, tagged along to their secret meeting spot outside Tianxue Academy. The sisters disguised themselves a bit, and so did Chowda, to avoid getting recognized or running into trouble with the spirit hall. After Xue Bing'er hugged Chowda, she said, "Yuer just had to come." Chowda didn't mind. "It's cool, I can protect you all. Let's roll, let's head straight to Sunset Forest." They had a carriage all set, with Chowda driving. The trio quietly headed towards the forest. On the way, Xue Yuer said, "This is my 3rd time in Sunset Forest. Too bad I'm only level 38, not 40 yet. Otherwise, I'd ask you to help me get a soul ring too." Xue Bing'er said, "You're practically level 39. You've improved so much faster than before, so chill." Hee hee. Xue Yuer looked at Chowda driving, and said, I know. I'm always grateful for your help. If it weren't for the stuff you gave me, I wouldn't be improving so fast, or looking so good. I'm ready to pay you back with my body. She paused, then continued, "Just kidding. I know you're always looking out for my sister, otherwise she wouldn't be improving so much. Her spirit power's already level 44. What kind of magic food did you give her?" Xue Yuer hasn't been told about the fairy grass. Chowda doesn't plan on giving her any of the remaining ones either, their relationship isn't there yet. Chowda said, "It was something good, but it's all gone. If I ever find more, I can give you some. But don't sweat it too much. If you keep eating these dimensional ingredients, Yuer, your talent will improve and you'll be just as good as your sister." Xue Yuer smiled, "I'm not jealous, just a little envious, that's all. I'm happy for her, and I won't complain. Just teasing you. With you watching our backs, it's okay if I'm a little slower." Xue Bing'er smiled helplessly. If she had the fairy grass, she'd give it to her sister in a heartbeat. But it's Chowda's, and if he says it's gone, she believes him. All she can do is apologize. They followed the main road to a town just outside Sunset Forest, similar to towns outside Stardew Great Forest. This place had shops, inns, mercenaries, and all sorts of supplies. It was still early, so after parking the carriage, they went straight into the forest. "Hey, you 3 hunting soul beasts. Need any help? For those 2 beautiful ladies, we can help you out for free." A few guys looking to enter the forest too approached them. Chowda didn't even bother talking. He just used a spatial soul skill to teleport them a mile away, out of sight, out of mind. Those guys got spooked when they suddenly got moved and ran for the hills, afraid Chowda and the girls would come after them. Shui Yuer smiled, you know, sis and I are getting prettier all the time, so we're gonna attract more pests like that. You've got your work cut out for you. Chowda said, I'm good at this. You two handle the beauty, and I'll handle the rest. Shui Binger smiled, oh yeah. Show me what you can do. Chowda didn't use his space jumping to rush through, but slowly led the sisters deeper into Sunset Forest. Whenever they ran into soul beasts, he let them handle what they could, for the experience. Frozen, that's Shui Binger's instant cast soul skill. Locks on, then instantly freezes the target. Ice Ring Armor, Shui Binger's second soul skill, a defensive move. Can apply an ice armor defense to teammates. Resist Halo, Shui Binger's third soul skill, a 1000-year ability. Sort of like Xiao Wu's fire resistance ring. Creates a repulsive ice ring centered on Shui Binger that pushes opponents away. Dolphin Sound Waves. Water Bomb Attack. Fish, these are Shui Yuer's 3 soul skills. Her spirit weapon is a dolphin, a water-type one. Sis, this 1000-year soul beast is tough. Let's do our fusion technique. Spirit weapon fusion technique, ice and snow fall, the Shui sisters can pull off a rare spirit weapon fusion technique. Shui Binger leads this one. There are 2 attack modes. One is a cloud of snowflakes, each as sharp as a blade. All the snowflakes spin and fall together, creating an ice and snow vortex that rips through the opponent with constant cutting attacks. The second involves Shui Binger injecting her spirit weapon's original power, turning the snowflakes into a massive blue phoenix, 7 meters long, that glides toward the enemy. Devastating power. The sisters fought hard, using everything they had. Their teamwork could take down soul beasts with less than 5,000 years of cultivation. Chapter 79 Powerful Space Soul Skill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bro, my sister and I have some killer combo moves when we team up. Shui Yuer announced, clearly stoked after their martial soul fusion. Awesome. That soul fusion thing is super rare. Keep practicing. Chowda was seeing martial soul fusion for the first time. He knew pulling it off wasn't easy. You needed the right conditions. The 2 martial souls had to be compatible, no clashing allowed. And even if they could blend, the soul masters had to be on the same wavelength, a real connection. Otherwise, forget about fusion. Luckily, Shui Binger and Shui Yuer were a perfect match. Ice Phoenix and Dolphin, both water-type beast spirits. That's why they could fuse and unleash those crazy powerful combo attacks. Those fusion skills let the sisters punch way above their weight class. Right now, they could go toe-to-toe with some soul kings. Shui Binger chimed in, honestly, our family never thought Yuer and I could pull this off. Shui Yuer threw an arm around her sister. It's 'cause we're so tight. That's how we make it happen. We're a package deal, sis. Then, giving Chowda a look, she added meaningfully, you can't split us up, bro. Chowda chuckled, don't worry, if you don't want to be apart, no one's gonna make you. Shui Yuer grinned, taking that as his blessing. Good to know I can count on you, bro. So, wanna keep monster hunting for practice? Chowda shook his head. Anything we run into from here on out is gonna be way out of your league. Too risky. No need to push it. Binger needs an ice-type, agility-based soul beast around the 10,000-year mark. For that, we gotta head north, deeper into Sunset Forest, to the Snow Mountains. That's where we'll find what she needs. Let's move out. Chowda then used his space warp ability to zip them through the heart of Sunset Forest and into the backwoods, dodging any 10,000-year beastie encounters. They reached the base of the snow-capped peaks before nightfall. It's getting dark. Let's set up camp here and start the hunt tomorrow morning. Chowda found a good spot, pulled out his tent, and got to work. Sleep was a no-go for him tonight. With 5,000-year soul beasts roaming, and even some 10,000-year ones. Chowda had to stand watch. If Shui Yuer wasn't around, Chowda could just take Shui Binger to live in the captured space. At present, Shui Binger had not been to the captured space, and there had been no suitable time. Shui Binger and Shui Yue helped Chowda talk late into the night before he finally sent them off to bed. They had wanted to keep him company till dawn. "Thanks for working so hard, bro," Shui Yue said. "Be careful," Shui Binger added, giving Chowda a peck on the cheek before joining her sister in the tent. The sisters didn't chat much in the tent, intending to fall asleep quickly, and then get up to accompany Chowda, but when they woke up, it was dawn. They hadn't camped outside before, so they couldn't get used to it. "You're awake. Breakfast is ready. I was about to wake you up." Chowda had whipped up some porridge that smelled amazing. "Yum." Shui Yue took a bite, loving it. "You're the best, bro. A once-in-a-lifetime guy, talented, strong, and a gourmet chef. My sister is one lucky lady." Shui Binger blushed. "Meeting him is the luckiest thing that's ever happened to me." Chowda laughed. "You're gonna make me blush." Just then, a snowy white, flying soul beast appeared out of nowhere, dive-bombing them with a barrage of razor-sharp ice feathers. Talk about perfect timing. "Looks like Binger's soul ring just came knocking." Chowda gave the aerial soul beast a once-over, grinning. "Is it a good fit for my sister?" Shui Yue asked. Shui Binger replied, "Judging by its soul power, it's definitely a 10,000-year beast. Ice-type, agility-based. It's exactly what we're looking for." Shui Yue glanced skyward, seemingly unfazed by the attack. "Alright, bro, showtime." She was clearly excited to see Chowda in action. "Keep your eyes peeled." Chowda made his move, triggering his space warp ability. Just as the ice feathers were about to strike, the flying soul beast suddenly vanished and reappeared in front of them, taking the full force of its own attack. Completely blindsided, it was slammed by its own ice storm, taking serious damage right off the bat. The soul beast was caught completely off guard. Space Lock. Chowda's second soul skill, which belonged to the second soul skill of the 10-year soul ring, was a success. It was now imprisoning the flying spirit beast in the air. With its power, it was impossible to break free from Chowda's space confinement power. The imprisoned flying soul beast couldn't break free, and soon showed a terrified expression. Shui Yue was surprised. "It can't move. Is that one of your soul skills?" Shui Binger guessed. Could it be some kind of space-constraining ability? They didn't know much about space-type abilities, but they could make educated guesses based on Chowda's space warp and airlock skills. Chowda confirmed, "Yup, that's space lock. It clamps down on the space around a target. Unless they're crazy strong, they can't break free." Shui Yue exclaimed, "Space lock is insane. So you can just freeze anyone in place whenever you want." She really wanted that kind of soul skill. Space Blade. Chowda unleashed his fourth soul skill. An invisible blade of space sliced through the captive flying soul beast, inflicting even more grievous wounds. Shui Yue was curious. "What's that move?" "An invisible attack," Chowda explained, "Space Blade. It's an invisible blade that can pop up anywhere within a certain range, even inside this flying soul beast. Talk about a silent killer. It popped up inside it." The thought sent shivers down Shui Yue's spine. If that thing popped up inside her. Nope, she didn't even want to think about it. That's terrifying. You can't even defend against it. Shui Binger realized that Chowda's space-based soul skills were all strong enough to defend against men. Chowda cautioned, "If your mental strength is high enough, you can sense the blade and use your soul power to block it. But if your soul power's not up to snuff, it'll cut right through." Space Blade was powerful, but it wasn't foolproof. Still, if you caught someone by surprise, it could definitely take down some heavy hitters. The flying soul beast was already bleeding out from the Space Blade, so Chowda went in for the kill with Space Squeeze, his third soul skill. This was one of the two soul skills of Chowda's 10-year third soul ring. The other soul skill is Space Jump, *boom. the pressure of the surrounding space caused the flying soul beast's wounds to rupture, leaving it on the brink of death. Then, with another space jump, he teleported the dying beast right in front of Xue Bing'er, ready for her to deliver the final blow and claim its soul ring. Chapter 80 Phoenix Nirvana, Resurrection with Full Blood. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as Xue Bing'er was about to deliver the final blow to the flying soul beast, it suddenly erupted in a blinding light. Xiao De immediately pulled Xue Bing'er and Xue Yuer behind him. What's going on? Xue Yuer asked, staring in surprise at the glowing creature. Let's wait and see. Xiao De said, shielding them but holding back his attack, curious about what was happening. Its soul power is recovering fast, Xue Bing'er observed. Don't you think it looks a bit like a white phoenix? Indeed, the snow-white flying soul beast did resemble a white phoenix. Bathed in the light, they could clearly feel its soul power rapidly replenishing. After about 10 seconds, the light faded, and the creature suddenly shot into the sky, trying to escape. Not so fast. Xiao De teleported in front of it, using his space imprisonment to trap it. Now they could get a good look at the flying spirit beast. It stared at them in terror, struggling desperately, only increasing its fear. Its wounds are gone. Amazing! Shueyuer exclaimed, noticing that the flying soul beast was completely healed, without even a trace of blood. Just moments ago, it was heavily wounded by a space blade and nearly crushed to death. It can recover from injuries and restore soul power. That must be its special ability, Xue Bing'er guessed. Xiao De said, that's a pretty cool ability. Bing'er might gain it after absorbing its soul ring. Xiao De attacked again, and the space blade pierced the flying soul beast, severely wounding it to the brink of death once more. This time, the flying soul beast didn't glow or recover. Bing'er, it's all yours now. Xue Bing'er stepped forward to end the creature's life. Unexpectedly, a soul bone appeared. Is that a soul bone? Xue Yuer asked, surprised. Not only did a black soul ring emerge, but a soul bone as well. Bing'er, you're in luck. It's a left arm soul bone. Xiao De said happily. Absorb the soul ring first, then the soul bone. Soul rings are time-sensitive and disappear if not absorbed quickly, but soul bones can be absorbed at any time. Okay. Xue Bing'er replied, happy about the unexpected soul bone, and began absorbing the soul ring. The soul ring was about 10,000 years old, making it a leapfrog absorption, but Xue Bing'er had taken the 8-petal immortal orchid, and been consuming the space-capturing ingredients for over 3 months. Her spirit, soul, physique, and other aspects were ready for absorbing a soul ring beyond her current level, so she was safe. A 10,000-year fourth soul ring. Xue Yuer was ecstatic, even more excited than if she were getting it herself. She was almost level 39, and when she reached level 40, she could also leapfrog to absorb soul rings. But to absorb a 10,000-year soul ring, she might need to wait another half-year and continue eating space-capturing ingredients to reach the point where she could handle it. Without a shortcut like the Jade Toad Pill, she would have to rely on long-term consumption of special ingredients to steadily improve. Xue Bing'er absorbed the soul ring without issue, and her soul power reached level 45, almost 46. Her 4 soul rings of yellow, purple, and black danced around her as she smiled and told Xiao De, I did it. Xiao De smiled and said, congratulations. That was too easy. Xue Yuer exclaimed. It's a 10,000-year fourth soul ring. Seeing her sister absorb it so easily made it seem simple. Xue Bing'er said seriously, it wasn't easy, Yuer. When I absorbed the 10,000-year soul ring, my soul felt like it was being slammed. If my soul wasn't as strong as it is now, the shock alone would have severely damaged it. It also puts a lot of stress on your martial spirit and body. To absorb a spirit ring beyond your level, your soul, martial spirit, body, and everything else must be strong enough. Otherwise, you risk death or serious injury, so don't take it lightly. Only first-hand experience could show how difficult it was to absorb beyond your level, and not everyone could do it. Really? Xue Yuer had no experience with it and didn't quite understand, but she trusted her sister and Xiao De. I'll listen to you when the time comes. I'll absorb it when you say I'm ready. Sister, what's your soul power now? What's your fourth soul skill? Xiao Wu was also curious. Shui Binger smiled. My soul power has increased by more than one level. Almost 46. Xiao Wu said, then after you absorb the soul bone, you should reach level 46. Xiao Wu felt he was also close to a breakthrough, so if Shui Binger reached level 46, he should also break through. Shui Binger hesitated. I absorbed the spirit ring. You should absorb the spirit bone, Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu shook his head. The soul ring and soul bone of the same spirit beast work best together. Don't worry, I'll find better spirit bones in the future. Shui Yuer added, yeah, sis, don't be so polite. It's yours. Absorb it quickly. Then show us your fourth soul skill and soul bone skill. Moved, Shui Binger accepted and began to absorb the soul bone. It was a 10,000-year left arm soul bone. Absorbing a soul bone doesn't come with risk. You only need to make sure the attributes and effects of the soul bone are suitable for you. Absorbing a soul bone that doesn't match your attributes would be a net loss. After absorbing the soul bone, Shui Binger's soul power increased, reaching level 46. Her breakthrough gave Xiao Wu an increase in strength, causing his soul power to break through to level 64. Congratulations, sis. Level 46, that's enviable. Shui Yuer was happy for her sister. Show me and my brother-in-law your fourth soul skill and your soul bone skill. Shui Binger nodded and released her martial spirit, the Ice Phoenix, along with her soul rings. Fourth soul skill, Phoenix Nirvana. A white light bloomed on Shui Binger's body, and a pair of snow-colored wings sprouted from her back, like an angel. Shui Yuer blinked. Sister, is your fourth soul skill the ability to fly? Shui Binger shook her head. Flying is just a side effect. This soul skill completely restores my mental strength, physical strength, soul power, injuries, etc. to their best state. In other words, when I'm exhausted and on the verge of death, I can instantly come back to life by using this soul skill, which is like getting an extra life. Shui Yuer was surprised. A full resurrection. So that's how the soul beast suddenly recovered its injuries and soul power before. Xiao Wu asked, that's powerful, an extra life. But there must be a limit, right? Shui Binger nodded. Currently, I can only use it once a day.